Namaste children, welcome to Madhu's English Academy. In this video, class 10 students will be learning your lesson 7, Glimpses of India. This lesson has 3 parts. The first part is a baker from Goa. The second one is Coorg. And the third one is tea from Assam. Before moving to the video, I'll be very happy if you subscribe the channel and like this video. Share it with your friends also. A baker from Goa. Introduction. A baker from Goa revolves around the relevance of a baker from the Goan culture, which dates back to the time when Portuguese ruled over the city of Goa. The Portuguese may have left, but the bread makers continue to have an inevitable stature. In this story, the author recalls his childhood days and their excitement on seeing the baker. They were enthusiastic to the point that they would run to him as soon as they woke up without even brushing their teeth. This is a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. The lesson begins with how narrator's elders often recall the time when Goa was under the rule of the Portuguese. They talk how the importance of bakers is still maintained in their villages even after the Portuguese have left. They are known as paders in Goa. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Here, the narrator says about his elders. He says that their elders are even now able to remember happily about those good old Portuguese days, the days when Portuguese ruled India. They were famous for their loaves of bread. They ate bread. They might have gone from India now, but still before going, they left the makers of bread here. So the bread makers and the art of making bread is still in Goa. We still have amongst us the mixers, the molders, and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old, time-tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnace has not been extinguished. The narrator says that they still have the mixers, the molders, and the people who bake the loaves of bread. So there were 3 different kinds of people involved in the process of making bread. They were mixers, the people who mix the batter, the molders, the ones who mold it, and the people who bake the loaves. So still they exist. Even if the original people are not there, they have left their legacy in Goa. So their sons are continuing the work. The age-old time-tested furnaces still exist. So the furnaces which were there during the Portuguese rule are still there in Goa. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. This line means that still the generation of the bread makers of Goa are there and they are still continuing the art of making bread. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are, even today, known as pada in Goa. The traditional bread maker used to come with a bamboo, and there will be a thud and jingling of the bamboo while he comes. This sound announces his arrival. Heralding means announcing. Children, when the ice cream seller comes, there will be jingling of bells from his cart before he comes, isn't it? Same way, before this baker comes, there will be thud and jingling from his bamboo, which announces his arrival in the morning. And it still could be heard in some places in Goa. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as pada in Goa. The ancestors who brought this profession of bread making to India might have passed away, but still their sons are here who carry on the family profession. And those bakers are still known as paders in Goa. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion, and guide. He used to come at least twice a day, once when he set out in the morning in his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. So the narrator can remember his childhood days. He says that during their childhood days in Goa, the baker used to be their friend and companion and guide. That means he used to spend most of his time with the baker. He used to come at least twice a day and meet the narrator. First time was when he set out in the morning to sell his bread, and the second was when he returned after emptying his huge basket. So both morning and in the evening, after before his work and after the work, the baker used to meet the narrator. The jingling thread of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. The loaves were brought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweetbread of special make. The author could still remember that they were woken up from sleep by the jingling thread of the bamboo. Immediately after waking, they ran to meet and greet the baker. Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. Actually, the loaves were brought inside the home by their maid servant, maybe some Paskin or Baskin. But they longed for the bread bangles which they chose very carefully. The baker with him brought some bread bangles, and sometimes it was made of sweet bread which was of special make, and it was the only thing which attracted the children towards the baker. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jung jung sound of his specially made bamboo staff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant. So the baker generally used to arrive with a musical entry. Musical entry means he used to have a bamboo stick. Bamboo staff means bamboo stick, and he used to bang the stick on the floor, which made a jung jung sound because it had some metallic bells in it. He had a basket, and his one hand supported the basket on his head, and the other hand held the bamboo, and he used it to bang the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady in the house with a good morning, and then he used to place his basket on the vertical bamboo, just like you see in the picture. The kids would be pushed aside with scoldings. Rebuke means scolding. The parents used to scold the children and they used to push them aside. The servants regularly collected the loaves of bread. But we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket somehow. I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Loaves for the elders and the bangles for the children. Earlier, we saw that the parents used to rebuke, scold the children, and they used to make them to stand aside. But these children, they were very curious, so they never used to give up. They used to climb a bench or the parapet. Parapet means wall or fence, and somehow they will try to peep into the basket. The narrator can still recall the fragrance of those loaves of breads. Then the padder used to deliver loaves of bread to the elders and the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. And why should we? Who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot teeth could wash and clean up everything so nicely, after all. After receiving the bangles of bread, the children become very enthusiastic and they want to eat it immediately. Those days, they did not have toothbrush or toothpaste, so they used to pluck leaves or the stem of trees for brushing their teeth. In the narrator's village, they had the habit of brushing their teeth using mango leaf. The narrator did not have time to go and pluck mango leaf, and indeed he did not find it necessary at all. He thought that tiger never brushed his teeth. He even had an idea that if he drank hot tea, it would wash and clean up everything in his teeth very nicely. This shows the love the children had for the bread bangles. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as the bowl, just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bolinas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. The baker played an important role in the village. Without him, any function was not possible. Here are few examples for it. Sweet bread, known as bowl, was very important marriage gift. Same way, in the party or feast, bread played an essential role. During engagements, the bride's mother should prepare sandwiches to celebrate the occasion. Same way, cakes and bolinas were very important items for celebration of Christmas as well as any other festival. So, the baker's presence was very important in the village. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as the kabai. It was a single piece long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a padder. The ancient bread sellers wore a unique kind of dress known as the kabai. It was a single piece long frock which reached down to their knees. During the narrator's childhood days, he saw bakers wearing shirt and trousers. These trousers were neither full pants nor half pants. They were of unique size. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches below the knees is commented that he is dressed like a padder. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the old days. The baker and his family never starved. He, his family, and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plump physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit-like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. These bakers mostly did not collect money every day. Instead, they used to maintain accounts on the walls using pencil, and money would be collected at the end of each month. The narrator says that baking was a very profitable profession in those days because these bakers and his family never starved. Means they did not go without food. He, his family, as well as his servants always looked very happy and they looked very prosperous too. The plump physique of the bakers were a clear evidence to this. Open testimony means clear evidence. Even today, if any person has a plumpy physical appearance, he is easily compared to a baker. Children, in this part, we learnt about the bakers of Goa. Is there anything very famous in your city? If so, let me know through the comment box. Until then, it's thank you and bye-bye from Madhu's English Academy. Thank you.